What's up guys, it's Roger and welcome back to the channel. And today we are playing some Trials of Osiris, and this weekend we have Burnout. Of course we're going to be on the hunter here because there's an exotic getting buffed that I want to check out before it gets there. And that would be the Lucky Raspberry. If you didn't see the other day, Bungie released a little article going over some of the exotics they're actually going to be buffing, and this was one of them. So basically soon enough it's going to just be able to regenerate more ability energy back to your nades without having to get those lucky refills just from the actual chain capabilities. So that's going to be pretty nice. We're just going to get our Arc Bolt nades even more often, so that's going to be something that's pretty good for this exotic. I think this exotic is a little bit slept on. I have seen people talking about it more recently in the past month or so, which I'm very happy about. I've made several builds with this and will continue to in the future, and it works pretty well today with the build we have going on. As for the rest of the armor and the mods, you can see that right here, just some stuff with our arc targeting and kinetic, because those are the two types of weapons that I have on, and we'll go over those weapons here very soon. I like to make orbs of power with my PvP builds. I do that three ways. One is going to be the firepower mod, the heavy-handed mod, and of course the Reaper mod. So you can read these if you want to pause and read these more in depth, but essentially every time we get a powered melee kill, a grenade kill, or we kill somebody after using our dodge, then we're going to make an orb of power. When we pick up those orbs of power, we're going to be able to get ability energy back with 2 orbs of restoration mods and an absolution mod. Again, pause if you want to read these more in depth. And finishing off our ability regeneration down here is going to be 2 bomber mods, which essentially every time we use our dodge, we're going to get around 20 to 25% of our ability energy back straight into our nade. Now for our special ammo weapon, I am going for the Reese Walker shotgun. This is a lightweight frame weapon, which I enjoy quite a bit. They give you plus 20 mobility when you have them in your hands, but on top of that, they give you a 6.25% sprint speed bonus, which lets us get on top of our enemies very quickly. Now, we did just get a buff to our lightweight frame weapons very recently at the mid-season patch. That's been feeling really good. It just tightened the pellet spread of these lightweight frame shotguns, and it's been feeling much better for actually getting those one-shots. You'll see me going in a lot in the gameplay today with this shotgun, more so than even using my primary weapon, because this weekend has been really good just for full sending it, and you'll see that today when we get to the gameplay. I do have some good plays with this Waking Vigil hand cannon. You're gonna see I actually started on a Cantata hand cannon, but I wasn't really loving the feel of it. I haven't really played the game much, actually in over 2 weeks, because I just had some stuff going on in life. Couldn't play the game, wasn't able to go on my computer even, so this is the first time today that I was actually be able to get back on and play any video games, let alone Destiny 2, so I had to warm back up a little bit, so I was having just much more success going in with my shotgun to get warmed up there, but I still had some fun plays with this Waking Vigil. Of course, when I could proc kill clip off of it, it felt really good to start smacking people for like 80 damage per hit, so you'll see that in the gameplay a few times. Let's go ahead and break down our Arc 3.0. You can see here we have Gathering Storm. Of course, we don't want to use Arc Staff just because you can't really get these roaming supers inside of 3v3 PvP unless you have like 100 intellect, then you can start getting your roaming supers, but obviously you can see that's not something that I have, so we're not going to do that. Over here for our abilities, you can see we have on Gambler's Dodge. Of course, every time we dodge near an enemy, that's going to give us our melee ability back instantly, which, what is our melee ability? Well, it's actually Combination Blow, a great melee ability. Because what it does is every time you can kill somebody with this melee, it's going to completely refill your class ability energy, being your dodge. But on top of that, it's also going to give you a small heal. I believe it's around 60 or maybe even more health. It says small heal, but honestly, I've had several times where this just gives me a big boost of health where I can win another 2-punch fight with the next enemy that comes around me. Now, after that, we are going to be using our Lethal Current aspect over here. I'm skipping over to bring this up because it goes in combination with our punch and our dodge. Of course, we proc this off of our dodge, and then you get the Lethal Current, and the next punch you do is going to have much farther lunge, which is the best part about Lethal Current. On top of that, it's going to explode, do a lot of extra damage, jolt the target, so it's a very easy way to kill somebody and get instantly amplified. Now, once you are amplified, you get a lot of boost. You can go ahead and read amplified on the right side of the screen there. It's going to make you really fast, give you a lot of weapon handling, and after you sprint for a short time, you go even faster than that. We love to see that. But on top of that, with Flow State here, you get some extra benefits. So once you're amplified, your dodge is going to recharge more quickly, about 10 seconds flat, sometimes less. You can just get a dodge back up, which is very nice, obviously. You're more resilient while you dodge, which is nice, so you can get out of some hairy situations, and your reload speed is really good, so all good things there when you are actually amplified. Now, of course, we are going to be using Arc Bolt grenades because we're using Lucky Raspberry. I could throw on a little Flashbang grenade or a Flux grenade, but that would kind of just waste the entire point of our exotic, so I think we're going to stick with the Arc Bolts right here. Now, when it comes to your movement ability, I like to use Blink. I think that it's kind of a waste to use Arc Hunter and not pair it with Blink because they work so beautifully together. Blink and Amplified is kind of like Oreos and milk. You know, you can have a nice little Oreo and not have a glass of milk next to it, but for me personally, I like to dunk that Oreo cookie straight in that glass of milk and then absolutely slobber it down. Now, if that's not you, you can go in little grasshopper mode over here. That's completely fine, but for me personally today, we're going to be using Blink. Now, coming down to our fragments down here, you'll see a few good ones, and my most important one right here for you guys is going to be called Spark of Haste. This is going to give you plus 30 to your resilience, recov, and mobility while you are sprinting. Now after that, we're going to have Spark of Volts just because I needed that plus 10 recovery so I could stay at 100 recov. And while we are talking about stats really quick, I will say you want to go for 100 recov and 100 discipline, especially when you're doing a build that revolves around your grenades. With something like Lucky Raspberry, I prefer to have 100 discipline, and I always think that you should be using 100 recovery, whether you're on Hunter, Warlock, or Titan, because it's just so good to get your health regenerating as quickly as possible once you exit a fight so that you can re-engage inside of that fight even quicker and take your enemies out. Now you will notice I have a low mobility stat here. I don't actually like to run it this low, especially with Blink. I usually recommend you have your mobility stat anywhere from 50 to 80. I know people freak out when it comes to your Hunter and having 100 mobility all the time because it is your class ability, but it's not as big of a deal as you make it out to be. Now there's a few things I want to point out to you. It will be at base 50 most of the time because most of the time when I run around the map, I'm going to have my lightweight frame shotgun out, which as we talked about earlier, will give me plus 20 to my mobility stat, bring it up to a 50. And after I sprint for a few seconds, my Spark of Haste is going to activate and give me 30 more, so we will be at 80 mobility most of the time, so don't freak out about it too much, but if you want to run higher, as always, you are free to do that. Any part of this build, you can always substitute whatever weapons or stat lines in that you want to make it more favorable for yourself. Now, finishing off these fragments, we are going to have Spark of Recharge. This says while critically wounded, your melee and grenade energy regenerates more quickly. Again, just another fragment here that's going to help us get our grenade back even faster, and our melee ability, of course, but mostly that grenade is what we're looking at. Now down here to finish it off, we have Spark of Shock. This says your arc grenades jolt targets. Now, you do not need to have jolting nades on when you're using something like your Lucky Raspberry, right? You don't have to have that on, but you're missing out on a lot of damage, and even enabling your teammates to do damage off of your setup by putting on Spark of Shock. Let's say, for example, you throw in your little arc bolt nade and it does some damage, but you don't have this on, well, it's not going to jolt, so it'll change some good damage between your enemies, make them lower health so you can go in and fly in and take them out with your shotgun, whatever it may be. But you're really going to get the most benefit out of it when you can actually jolt your targets off of that same nade, and then when you can shoot them a little more, the jolt's going to travel between them, do some extra damage, and that will result in a lot of situations where you can actually take your enemies out much easier, especially if they're grouping up and holding hands. And last but not least, when they are jolted, of course, we have our flow state on here, so when we kill them while they're jolted, we're going to get amplified, which is a big part of our Arc 3.0 here. Now, all in all, it is a pretty simple loadout. If you do have any questions about it though, please feel free to leave those in the comment section or join the Blinkville Discord server. I'm going to have that linked in the top right and in the description. Overall, I just wanted to have some fun this weekend, so I slapped on something that I knew was going to get buffed here soon and just had a good time with it. Burnout is feeling decent this weekend compared to earlier. I think it was earlier this season. I think it was the first weekend of this season when we had Burnout, and they made it all outside spawns. You'll see in the gameplay it is all outside spawns again, but they actually moved the flags around a little more, I think. So it's a little better this weekend, I think, but it's still kind of just like, it's Trials of Osiris, so what else can I say besides that? I think we're about ready to get into this gameplay. Before we do, I want to say, if you want to leave me a like, comment, or subscribe at any point in this gameplay, I'd very much appreciate that. And if you want to go that one step further and join my channel membership, you can go ahead and click that join button right below this video, and that'll show you all the perks you get for joining that. That's my monthly membership you can do just to support the channel a little bit extra so I can make the best content possible for you guys. But all that out of the way, I think we're ready to get in this gameplay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and blink on into it. Now coming in here to our very first round of the day, and my very first round in over 2 weeks. As I was saying in the intro, I haven't got to play for a while, so I just kind of wanted to go balls to the wall at the beginning and see if I could get a good round to get myself reacquainted with Destiny 2, and I think I did that pretty well right here. Take out the first 2 guys, reload really quickly, smack the last guy, and that made me feel pretty good about getting back into the game. Of course, my primary ammo shot was a whole nother story. You can see here, doing a little fun, hitting a headshot right there felt pretty nice because this is one of the most annoying head glitches in the entire game. So it was good. I realized later on it's not like the Cantata, so you're going to see me switch pretty quickly to the Waking Vigil, as I was telling you in the intro, in the loadout breakdown. But, sometimes guns just aren't feeling good, especially when you haven't played for a while. but when I got to the Waking Vigil, it felt much better. Now, you can see the usual gameplay loop of this Arc Hunter perfectly in this clip. I go in with a dodge, right? And then I go in with my shotgun. I take out the first guy with a shotgun and melee combination. Once I get the kill with that melee, it's going to proc my combination blow. That combination blow is going to completely refill the energy of my dodge ability. Then I can reproc my dodge and go on top of the next enemy, where I'm going to be amplified as well, because the first enemy that we killed him while he was jolted, just like that kill right there. Dodge, shotgun melee, amplified, dodge again, fly in lethal current yet again, get on top of this guy, blow his nutsack to the next dimension, reproc amplify, we have this enemy in front of us. If I had the foresight to actually use my dodge before I fought this guy, I would have, but it didn't matter anyways, as I was able to run up on top of him, shoot him with a nice shotgun blast, and then punch his nutsack harder than a nice little beatbox with Mike Tyson. So that's the stuff that you're looking for. It's a pretty simple combo, and I was going balls to the wall with that all day and having a fun time with it. You can see here I was using the hand cannon at some certain choices, like areas around here. You can use this area very well. If you want to rewind really quickly, I did pick up an Orb of Power there, so you can see my abilities regenerate when I pick up that Orb of Power. But really quickly, let's pause so I can just point out this lucky raspberry play for you guys right here. 2 kills with Jolt right there, guys. All I had to do was press the Q key 2 times. And then I got a little overzealous, thought my teammate would have my back, but unfortunately, I don't know, he was sucking dick or sucking lollipops. Either way, it doesn't really matter. He shit the bed and we lost the round. Now, back to Lucky Raspberry. You can see it going perfectly in that round, and that's the kind of stuff you're looking for. So, especially this weekend, where are you looking to throw those Lucky Raspberry arc bolts? Well, straight down lane usually. You're going to see a lot of people are using snipers this weekend. So, big thing, what you want to do is right when you spawn, look straight down lane, right? Whether you spawn on either side, if you spawn here, you look to your right. If you spawn on the other side, you look to your left. You'll usually get a few snipers looking at you, and even if they're not on a sniper, maybe they have a pulse rifle or a 120 hand cannon, and they want to play range against you at the beginning. That's perfect for you. That's exactly what you're looking for. Now, this isn't a kind of a weekend where Blink is going to be as huge, because getting to certain lanes quickly and first doesn't matter as much. But it's still very useful, especially for something like flanking, which you can see me doing in this clip right here. This guy was all the way behind my teammates. I wanted to get up behind him, you know? My teammate threw a little dusk field on him, or maybe that was the enemy's dusk field. He was stuck in the fucking ice palace, whatever the deal was. He backwashed around behind me, but I had a good flank coming up from bridge there, where I was able to just to take him out, and that's the stuff you're looking for. So that's why I like this weekend quite a bit. I mean, it's fun enough. You can see using lethal current right there to take people out, and we have a pretty simple gameplay loop that we can do this weekend just to get on top of our enemies. It's a very aggressive weekend, the way that I'm playing at least, and I think you'll have fun with the build as well. Now, I am excited to actually see a buff come to Lucky Raspberry. It's not often that I actually get things I'm excited for in this game. Obviously, I know there was a state of the game that came out while I was away. I haven't actually read it yet. I'll read it at some point soon. This week, this clip is pretty funny because I'm just using my Amplify to be really fast and screw with this guy, so I had to leave this in here for you guys so you can watch and laugh at it. But I'll have to read that soon. I know it made a lot of people mad because there's just a lot of stupid things that Bungie's doing. And I mean, I'm not surprised. I don't think anyone's like really surprised at this point. Just a terrible mishandling of this game for a long time now, which is why I try not to invest as much emotional stake in this game anymore, because they don't know how to take care of their community. They don't know how to take care of their game in general. So I don't go ahead and put myself up here and be like, oh, I'm so excited for this. No. Don't get excited, you know, because we see things like this Lucky Raspberry buff. We're getting a Foe Tracer buff, which I'm very excited about too. We'll touch on that next weekend. I think I'm going to do a build with that. It's not actually just a buff. It's getting put on top of Knucklehead Radar. And that doesn't matter right now. We'll talk about that later. But the point is, even things like Astrocyte Verse are getting buffed. And that's awesome. You know, I love that stuff because that's what I'm using most of the time. But at the same time, it's like, do those things really matter when the rest of the meta might not change enough to not feel like the same, you know, stale piece of fucking white bread that I've had in my pantry for the past 6 years as it has been? I don't know. So we're gonna have to see what happens there. But I just don't have faith in them to actually do much of changes that will actually make this not feel stale anymore. And we see things like the changes coming to the Titans, right? Where they're actually going to be nerfing their shields again. It's gonna be a longer cooldown. They're gonna be nerfing Thunder Crash again. And that stuff is great. But why does it all have to trickle down so slowly? It's like, oh, first we're going to nerf Shoulder Charge, and then we're going to do Titan Barricade. And I think the argument most people would make, especially, you know, Titans who still suck their fucking thumbs at night and sleep with Teddy in their bed, they want to be like, well, we don't just want to do all these nerfs at once, because then what if they're too much? And then then Titans are ass. Dude, first of all, I died to the Architects here, so that's fun. Thanks, Bungie. You could literally take a fucking Titan, shove him in a meat grinder, pop them back out the other side, slap that baby on a grill, and they would still be stronger than most Hunter and Warlock classes combined. And I'm not even like joking on that. Titans are completely busted in so many ways. When it comes to their abilities, of course, is the biggest thing. But you can't just do a bunch of little changes when they're as strong as they are. I understand wanting to be careful about it, but this is something that I've always hated about Bungie, is they do these little baby step nerfs instead of just going on and doing a big sweeping change. Big lucky raspberry around here. I had to show this to you guys. Easy pick with that nade, so I throw in a second one because I got a full recharge off that first kill, and then I missed my shotgun, and then my lethal current just did not do my lunging melee onto that guy. But of course his Titan punch worked because Titan go Oonga Boonga, so, you know, I guess I should have thought about that before I woke up this morning and chose to get on this game. Now, continuing on, as I was saying, Bungie just makes terrible decisions. They nerf too little at a time, and also their nerfs come very slowly. This isn't the kind of game that I've played in the past. Another lucky raspberry around here. You can see a free recharge. Let me smack another guy with that nice nade right there. I love to see it. But there's types of games out there where you'll see weekly patches, and every week the company will be like, hey, here's what we're doing. We've noticed that this week, in the past couple weeks, this has been too strong, so we're going to go ahead and nerf that right off the bat, you know. Get it out of the game because it's really annoying and no one's going to play our shit-stained game anymore if this annoying thing is stuck in here. But Bungie doesn't do that. What they do is they say, this has been overpowered. Target Lock and Immortal's been overpowered for, boy, I don't know, longer than most of our player base has actually even been alive, since most of them seem like they're 4-month-old babies with the actual thumbsticks they have going on when they're in my matches. But, you know, specifically when they're on my team, by the way, the enemy gamers are just like god tier. Now, that being said, then they just don't address things enough. They don't nerf them enough. And then they nerf Target Lock, and it's like, is it still overpowered on Immortal? Yeah. What did the Target Lock nerf get us? Well, it made an actual fun gun like Rufus's Fury, which needed Target Lock to be substantially useful in the PvP meta, and it made it functionally useless on that gun now, right? So now Rufus's, on the whole, got an entire nerf because of that one perk, whereas the other gun that was broken because of that nerf didn't get it. I don't understand why they didn't just separate, say, here is the damage profile for how this perk is going to kick up in its damage at certain points in the mag on SMGs, and the damage profile that it kicks up on auto rifles is going to be different. They have the capabilities to program things like that if they want to, but they just don't. They take the easy way out, and the easy way keeps the game broken, and not in a fun way. It's broken in a way where I have to call a plumber. And if I have to sit here and stare at this fat plumber's ass crack in my face for another 5 minutes, I think I'm gonna frickin' lose it. But that's where we're at with Destiny 2 now. Now, a few weeks ago, I had to go do something, you know, I have been away lately, now, I'm not gonna talk about the exact reasonings, but the point is, I haven't been able to play the game much, but when I came back, I had a much new and just better perspective on the game, and I felt much better coming back to it after my break. This time around, is not actually the same because there's just been so much uproar and annoyance at this game lately while I was gone that I came back and I was just like, I don't even, like, who wants to do this? Since the last few weeks of a season, you know, everyone's just sick of it. And it's just crazy. I mean, the community is tearing itself apart. Bungie doesn't really care, and it's just, it's insane to see. But there's so many things, like certain things make me laugh that I want to talk about really quick. So you can see here, very good with the lucky raspberry nades. Before I get into what I want to talk about, we can throw out a second one there, and look at that, recharged again. That's great stuff. So I'm telling you guys, these nades in this exotic are very fun. Gonna be even better when it actually does get buffed. So make sure you do have a good one in your vault, and just maybe get some exotic engrams, I meant to say. If you can, conditional finality, completely balanced gun, love the die to that. But if you can get a good lucky raspberry before it's buffed, make sure you do that, guys. You won't regret it. Now, moving on to what I actually wanted to talk about, because I've seen a little more talk about this in the community, even though I have not caught up and been looking at things as much as I do in certain other points in time. I've seen this come up a little more. People are actually getting a little more annoyed with certain content creators, and the big ones especially, and I think that's good because it's something I've always hated for a long time now, as I just go fucking Floyd Mayweather to the balls to the wall, and that around there you can see pretty brain empty type of build sometimes, and it's pretty fun. But something I've hated for a long time in this community is just how the big creators have always had this fucking monopoly on this game's content creation space. People are so just stuck on the same 6 big creators, right? And I'm not going to name names because where does that get us except for more toxicity, and that's not worth it. But what I want to talk about is just how a lot of the big content creators have waited so long before now they're jumping on this bandwagon. It's like they had to see the entire community get into some kind of fucking uproar first, and then they could be mad. It's like they needed some pass to be mad. You could just be aggravated with the game. I don't like when these fake people sit here and they're like, okay, well now it seems like I have a pass to where I can be annoyed with the game and put it on public display because the rest of the community is already annoyed, so I know that they'll be on my side now. And it's just ridiculous because these content creators don't understand how much of a voice they have, you know, just in the community in general, to the player base, but even with Bungie, you know, that's who's on the front lines, who has the most pull and the most voice, and they just sit here and they shit the bed with it, and it's so annoying. And I see so many big content creators that have been doing this for so many years, and I think they realize that a lot of their livelihood is tied to this game, and so they just don't want to you know, dunk on it a little bit. But it's ridiculous. It's just so pathetic, for lack of a better word, you know? And I don't care not to be rude or anything. No, I want to be rude because it is just ridiculous. The just lack of moral, I guess I would call it, in these people, where they just sit here and they promoted terrible builds that have just ruined things, like all this Titan spam and anti-sword spam, like this guy right here. Let's shove conditional finality and everything. It's shove immortal and everything. Oh, here's my immortal Cloud Strike build. Aren't I unique? No, you're not. And it's ruined the community. It's ruined the entire game. And people are just okay with it to some degree, it seems like. But I'm sick of content creators like that. And I've been saying for so long my annoyances with this game, and I have gotten like hate for it in comments for so long, and it's something I've always been like, are you serious? You guys just are blind to these problems. And then finally, the whole community sees it months and months later after I've been saying this stuff, and now people want to jump on this bandwagon and be like, yeah, we're annoyed. Are you? Are you really annoyed? Or did Timmy Two Shoes, your favorite content creator, say it, and now you're going to jump on his cock and ride it like a fucking merry-go-round? Is that what we're going to do here? I don't know. Point of this rant is just have your own opinions, guys. Don't just follow whoever you see and it's your favorite content creator, because I think you have enough brain power in there to make your own decisions about the game and the directions it's moving. So do that. Have your own opinions. You can like people and you can respect their own opinions, but please, all my point is have your own, and hopefully those content creators learn to have their own at some point too. Now, all that being said, we are in the last clip here, so I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you want to leave me a like or subscribe, I'd very much appreciate that. I'll have my Blink Warlock build out tomorrow at noon, I believe, Eastern time, for you guys that want to know. And all that being said, I think it's going to do it for me today. So I'll let the rest of this clip play out, and as always, have a great day, Guardians.